Rhino, please put the wing at ease. Well, of course, I need to start by thanking so many people, but rather than go through a long list of thank yous up here, I'll just hit a few. The rest of you, I'll thank you face to face, either today or in the weeks to come. But of course, General Zobrist, I want to thank you first for this amazing opportunity. The uniqueness and the significance of this are not lost on me, and Samantha and I are just so excited to have an opportunity to lead and take care of this team, so thank you, sir. As I look out in the audience, I see so many faces, friends and family from pretty much every stage of my life, from toddler to cadet to lieutenant, the weapons officer, squadron commander, and the list goes on. I want to thank each of you for the unique role you played in helping us be here today, and thank you for being here. I also have to acknowledge the presence of my identical twin brother, Colin O'Malley, over here. He's 3 minutes older than I am, and while he's an incredibly handsome man, don't let him fool you. He is my evil twin, and right now, he is already plotting his rise to power. So if I make a questionable decision down the road as your wing commander, it's very possible that he's taken over, so please deal with him accordingly. Samantha and Connor, my wife and son, I want to thank you, of course. I love you. I couldn't do this without you. I wouldn't want to. Ship, as you spoke today, I just looked out in the audience at the faces in the crowd and saw nothing but sincere appreciation and admiration for the leader and the human being that you are. That doesn't happen by accident. That's something that you have built, that you and Kelly have built together. Because my sense is that this job was never about you. It was about them, about taking care of them so they could execute this incredibly important mission. It's a powerful example that Samantha and I absolutely intend to follow, so thank you for that. Well, I've never been stationed at Shaw before. This place does have special significance to me. My father, who's here, was a maintenance officer working on the Shaw flight line in the late 60s, working on RF-4Cs. He met my mother while she was a school teacher teaching in Columbia. And they told me stories of what Shaw was like back then. And while the airplanes have changed, and as my dad noted, the number of acronyms have expanded significantly, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the energy, the challenges, and the people are very much the same. Mom, Dad, thank you for taking the trip back here, back to the place where your lives together began so many years ago. When we drove on base for the first time just a few days ago, the defender checked our IDs, and as we exchanged salutes, I was about to drive on, but then it hit me. This was a moment that I didn't want to forget. This was the first time that I would drive on this base as the new wing commander, and I didn't want to let it just roll by. So I told the defender who I was, that I'd be taking command, and I could tell he wasn't impressed. He wanted me just to move on so he could do his job. But I told him that this moment was important to me, and that I wanted to remember it, and that I wanted to remember him. So I took a quick picture, didn't want to distract him. A1C Ripon, if you're here, thank you for welcoming us to Shaw, being the first one, and more importantly, thanks for the important work you do defending our perimeter. There are so many moments like that in our lives that just roll by, and it's so easy to forget that so much of what we do here is extraordinary. Think of the Wild Weasel mission, the SEED mission that we've talked about, a mission that involves putting our F-16s in the middle of a threat envelope, and as those missiles fire at you, you detect them and you fire back. I remember the first time I described that mission set to my mother when I returned from a combat deployment, and she looked at me very sternly and she said, "Derek, you are not allowed to do that." But we have to do it, along with thousands of other actions, to take care of these people and to accomplish this mission. But I also know that we do many other missions here at Shaw besides the Wild Weasel mission. But I think that mindset runs through all of them, and it's an idea that you accept risk and at times make significant sacrifices to support a greater objective. But another very important part of the Wild Weasel mission we don't want to forget is that when a surface-to-air missile system fires at you, you don't just sit there and let that missile hit you. You move your jet and you defend yourself so you can survive and live to fly and fight another day. So to extend that to what we do here, the airmen in this wing and the soldiers on this base and the families in this wing are not expendable. We have to defend them. We have to defend their time. We have to take care of them so that we can, in some small way, start to heal the sacrifice that everybody, both in and out of uniform on this base, is going to be called to make. I hope that there will be many times where we together will recognize that what we do here isn't normal, it isn't routine, it isn't easy, it's hard, but it's absolutely necessary and, in my mind, also extraordinary. But just as we can get numb to our own awesomeness, we can also get numb to the problems around us that need to be attacked, and that will continue to be my job, to remind you of your awesomeness, but then to get after anything that detracts from your ability to do your job and take care of yourself and your family, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll end with a quote from the crustiest fighter pilot I've ever known, a guy by the name of Colonel Spam Rises. Some of you know him, he's retired now. And I'll paraphrase a bit. He said, if someone asks you the mission of an A-10, you'd say close air support. If someone asks you the mission of an F-22 or an F-15C, you'd say air-to-air, or air dominance. But when someone asks you the mission of the F-16, your answer is simple. We fight America's wars. That's exactly what we do here. We are a fighter wing, and I know we've got important work to do. Many battles ahead as we send airmen into combat and F-16s into combat, and battles here at home that threaten our time and sometimes our sanity. I will be there with you in the trenches and in the cockpit to fight those battles. As of this moment, it is my honor to work for you. Thank you.